Imagine a point on the planet so isolated that you could scream at the top of your lungs and no one would hear you. Now, imagine that the closest place to you isn't on land or even in the sea. It's above you in space. About 400 kilometers above, at the International Space Station orbiting the planet. This place exists, and it's more inaccessible than any desert, mountain, or forest you've ever known. We're talking about a spot so remote that explorers who've tried to approach it have faced nearly insurmountable challenges. But why is it so isolated? Why is it marked on the map as Point Nemo? And what's so fascinating about this place that scientists, writers, and even conspiracy theorists have been drawn to it? In this video, we'll journey to the farthest reaches of the ocean, where silence prevails and the unknown reigns. You'll discover how this spot became Earth's satellite graveyard, why it holds some of the ocean's greatest mysteries, and, most surprising of all, what it can teach us about extreme solitude. But beware, not everything about Point Nemo is as it seems. Some stories are so intriguing they almost feel like legends. Or are they? If this has already sparked your curiosity, subscribe to the channel now and leave a like so you won't miss any of the incredible destinations we explore on Uncoverist. I'm Brandon DeLong, and today, we're heading to the place where space is closer than any piece of land. To understand Point Nemo, we first need to locate it on the vast map of the Earth. But here's the challenge. It's not visible on common maps. This unique location is hidden in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, about 2,688 kilometers from the nearest habitable piece of land. This makes it officially the most inaccessible place on Earth. Its exact location was calculated in 1992 by an engineer named Hervoje Lukatila, using specific coordinates to find the point farthest from any continent or inhabited island. And when we say far, we mean completely isolated. If you were there, you would see nothing but water as far as the eye can reach, a true infinite expanse of blue. Now, imagine what it's like to be in a place where even the ocean currents seem to disperse, leaving the sea in a kind of unsettling silence. There's no human life nearby, and the only movement comes from the waves and the occasional sound of marine creatures. It's almost as if Point Nemo is a bubble of solitude on the planet. But here's the curiosity. Why is Point Nemo so special? After all, the ocean is full of isolated places. What sets it apart is the fact that it has been transformed into something many call a space graveyard. Yes, it's where satellites and space stations are sent when they reach the end of their usable life. And we're not talking about just one or two. Dozens of pieces of space technology rest at the depths of this ocean point. So why did scientists choose this specific place? The answer lies in geography and absolute isolation. But hold on, there's much more to uncover. How exactly does all this space technology, designed to survive the extreme conditions of space, interact with the ocean floor? Stay tuned, because in the next chapter, we'll dive, literally, to understand what happens when human engineering meets the unexplored depths of Point Nemo. Now that we know Point Nemo serves as a space graveyard, the inevitable question arises. How exactly do the remains of satellites and space stations get there? And what happens when these structures collide with the ocean? Imagine this. Satellites orbiting the planet begin to deteriorate over time. When they reach the end of their operational life, engineers carefully calculate their re-entry trajectory. The goal is for them to fall into a remote and safe location. And there's no better place than Point Nemo. With almost surgical precision, these pieces are directed to fall in this exact spot. As they hit the atmosphere, most of the material burns up due to intense friction, but not everything turns to ash. Significant fragments of metal and other materials survive the heat and eventually sink into the depths of the ocean. There, at thousands of meters below the surface, these remains of space technology find their final resting place. And here's a fact you might not know. Among the objects resting at Point Nemo are parts of the Soviet Union's space station Mir and older modules from the International Space Station. These relics, designed to withstand the harshest conditions of space, now face a new type of challenge: the crushing pressure and darkness of the ocean's depths. But what happens to these fragments over time? Scientists theorize that materials may release traces of chemicals into the ocean. While the environmental impact is not yet fully understood, some believe that these submerged structures could, in some way, be colonized by marine life adapted to extreme environments. However, the absolute isolation of Point Nemo makes it difficult to explore these depths. Only highly specialized submarines could reach such locations, and missions are expensive and technically challenging. It's almost as if Point Nemo serves as a kind of time capsule, holding the secrets of humanity's. If you think Point Nemo is already impressive, here's something that defies logic. The closest place to this point isn't on Earth. It's in space. That's right, the International Space Station, orbiting the planet at an average altitude of 400 kilometers, is the nearest neighbor to this incredibly remote location. This idea is as fascinating as it is perplexing. Anywhere else on Earth, the closest point would be another geographical area, whether it's an island or the nearest continent. But not at Point Nemo. Its isolated location in the middle of the Pacific Ocean places it around 2,700 kilometers away from any solid land. That's more than the width of the United States. Now, imagine the astronauts on the International Space Station, floating in microgravity and gazing down. Beneath them, Point Nemo stands out as a vast, blue expanse, with no boats, islands, or signs of civilization. For these space explorers, the most deserted place on Earth is just another point in the vast oceanic panorama. But what makes this area so inaccessible? The answer lies in the vastness of the Pacific Ocean. Even with modern vessels, reaching Point Nemo is a monumental task. It's like sailing in a liquid desert, with no landmarks or resources along the way. This extreme isolation also means that very few people in history have ever set foot there. Unlike other remote places, such as Everest or Antarctica, Point Nemo doesn't attract adventurers or explorers. It's as if it exists beyond human reach, an untouched piece of the planet that remains virtually unknown. And here's a thought-provoking question. Will we ever be able to fully explore Point Nemo? Or will it remain an uncharted frontier, both for us and for future generations? In the next chapter, we'll dive even deeper into this mystery. We'll uncover what truly exists beneath. If the surface of Point Nemo already holds mysteries, what about what lies hidden beneath its waters? Here, in one of the most unexplored places on Earth, the ocean floor harbors a completely alien world. With depths that surpass 4,000 meters, this region is one of the most inaccessible to humanity. For decades, scientists have wondered what might exist in these depths. Some of the most surprising theories include forms of life that have never been seen before, adapted to survive under extreme pressure and total darkness. Imagine bioluminescent creatures silently swimming among volcanic rock formations in an environment that feels more like another planet than Earth. It's not just biology that intrigues scientists. Point Nemo is also an unexpected repository of human technology. Since the 1970s, this remote area has served as a space graveyard. Satellites and parts of space stations that reach the end of their useful lives are directed to re-enter Earth's atmosphere over Point Nemo. These objects burn up almost completely upon atmospheric re-entry, but in rare cases, small fragments can reach the depths of this forgotten place. Yet what fascinates researchers the most are the unexplored possibilities. Point Nemo's depths are so inaccessible that we know more about the surface of the Moon and Mars than we do about it. Only recently, with advances in robotic technology, have we begun to glimpse what might be hidden there. And with each new discovery, more questions arise than answers. But should we fully explore this place? Some argue that Point Nemo should remain untouched, as a reminder of the power and mystery of nature. Others believe it could hold crucial answers about the origin of life on Earth, and even the possibility of life on other planets. In the end, Point Nemo is not just a geographical location. It is a symbol of how little we know about our planet and how much more there is to discover. Who knows what other secrets are hidden in the remotest corners of Earth, waiting to be revealed? If you've reached this point, it's because, like us, you are fascinated by exploring the unknown. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. This helps us continue bringing incredible stories like this. I'm Brandon DeLonge, Thank you for joining this journey, and see you next time here on Uncoverist.